Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel, and if you're new here, thanks for joining me. I'm Katie and today is another page in my ETCHR sketchbook. So you might remember in the last video I did a character based on the moon. Well, I thought I would do one based on the sun. Makes sense, right? And keeping the theme similar and the whole style and vibes similar, I obviously added flowers in her hair. I decided not to add butterflies. I know in the last one I used moths, but I just didn't really want to draw a load of butterflies in her hair. I thought the sun would probably look better with flowers in her hair, don't you think? So the paints that I'm using are from my White Nights palette, but I do believe I may have used a bit of Daniel Smith in there as well. And obviously I'm keeping to warm colours, and I decided to do this because I use quite a lot of muted tones, I'm sure you've noticed. And I perhaps just wanted to give another colour palette a try. I mean, it's on my sketch pad, so it's all about experimenting, right? So the character herself, I wanted to look quite foreboding and, I don't know, perhaps just a little bit scary. Not to make the sun look a little scary or anything, but I wanted it to look powerful perhaps. That seems more appropriate. And her having her looking down on everything. And again, that's not for her to be snooty. That's just because the sun is up in the sky for everyone, so that kind of makes sense. If she was a character, she'd be looking down, right? She does look a little bit scary at the moment, but I promise once all the details are in, especially the eyes, it will look better. Now, I've decided to layer up her hair details and have this gorgeous swirling pattern to sort of emphasise the rays of the sun. And I'm sure you've just noticed I seem to be enjoying throwing salt on a lot of my watercolour work at the moment, and again, it's purely experimental. I don't really believe I've got any control over it as such until I've experimented it and with it enough to get to know it. But I really love all the textures it makes, and I love the fact I can choose where these textures go by obviously applying it on wet only areas. And yeah, I absolutely love it. I really enjoy it, and I can't wait to do more stuff with salt. So let me know in the comments, you know, if you want me to share that with you. This is obviously something I'm pursuing in my own time as well. It'd be quite interesting to see how it affects gouache and as well your traditional inks. So I thought it was high time to start adding some stronger colours in here because it was just looking a bit washed out, a little bit too pastel-y, and when I take the masking fluid off, I want to make sure that there is a good strong contrast between the two before I decide what to do with what's underneath the masking fluid. That was an incredibly long-winded way of saying that, wasn't it? Now, I need to mention I sound like rubbish on this video, and I haven't got a cold or anything sinister. It's time for my allergies to start up, and I'm not massively allergic to a lot of things. Summertime isn't horrific for me. However, springtime, there's that tree pollen in the air. Everything's starting to blossom a wee bit earlier, and obviously it's gone straight to my sinuses. So I do apologise if I sound a little bit ropey, and I probably will for one or two more videos after this, so I do apologise. I will be taking some anti-allergy medicine until it's not an issue for me, but at the moment I'm just very, very allergic to tree pollen. Well, not very, very allergic. Basically, it's just making it sound like I've got a cold. Come on, some of you must be able to relate there. Let's get back to the painting though. So I wanted her skin colour to look quite warm, and I went in there with some of the colours that I'd used on her hair because obviously that's going to reflect, and it did take me a while, and I think maybe it's just because how the head's tilted. It took me a little while to figure out how the shadows would lie and what other colours there'd be on there, but I got there in the end. But I don't add the eyes in for a little while, so it might just freak you out for a bit longer. But I really like how I managed to get a good sense of form with this, especially on her neck and shoulders. You may have also noticed that I'd pulled back the masking fluid and added some additional colours to inside the flowers, and again, I'm really happy with how this is looking. I obviously can't do it the same as I did with the moon picture because the colours aren't quite as deep, because that's what the colours are like, but I still wanted that movement and those textures in there, and I think I pulled it off quite well. So I'm really enjoying this sketch pad at the moment, and I do want to do a sketch pad tour. However, there's quite a lot of pages in here and I'm just sort of encroaching halfway. So if you want a sketchbook tour, let me know in the comments, and if you want me to do it when I hit the halfway mark, let me know, or if you want to wait until the whole book's finished, which could take a while, to be honest with you, because I don't just solely work out of this. But if you want that video, let me know in the comments and I will give you a sketchbook tour and I'll talk through. I know you've seen a couple of pages in here already, or at least a couple of the double pages, but I have been experimenting and playing away in here, so if you want to see that, let me know in the comments. So I went back over the stamen on the flowers with some masking fluid because I wanted to keep them white. I really wanted them to stand out as best as I could with this lighter colour tone I've been using. And that also helped to stop the lines that I'm doing around the plants being confused with the lines within the stamen. Does that make any sense? I mean, I'm not a massive expert at drawing flowers or painting flowers. I don't consider myself anywhere near good. The shapes that are part of the puzzles of drawing them, they don't quite correlate to me, perhaps how shapes and forms do with human anatomy and drawing animals and bits and bobs like that. So that is an area I need to work on, and there's a lot of trial and error there as well. But adding those outlines just made everything pop, and using the masking fluid just preserved the white paper underneath. Now finally I'm adding some colour to this character's eyes, and she doesn't look quite as menacing now, but she still looks quite empowered, and obviously she's the sun, she's got all the power. I decided to give her a golden yellow colour for her eyes because that just seemed the right thing to do. I think if I'd have used anything darker or a traditional eye colour, I think it just would have been a bit too distracting. And I'm kind of happy I stuck with that. Anyway, we are finished. The masking tape, washi tape is coming off, and I'm pretty pleased with this, and maybe I might do a proper version on, well, outside of the sketch pad. I'm not going to say on proper paper because the paper in this is pretty nice. Anyway, I just want to say thank you so much for watching. I really hope you've enjoyed this video, and let me know in the comments what you thought. If you haven't already, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, and of course if you did enjoy this, give me a good old thumbs up just to let me know. Anyway, thank you again for watching, and I'll see you on the next video. Bye!